Reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to kick off the meeting of the MSD of North Posey. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on the agenda is the minutes, claim docket, and consent items. We have a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items as listed.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Gentile.
No.
No.
Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Gentile. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, next on the agenda is Patron Concerns, and we have Mrs. Dugan.
If you could just take one set and pass them around, please. I'll separate it out. I've previously submitted a letter voicing my concern over the corporation's decision to have only 2 fifth grade teachers at North Elementary next year. As I'm not sure that I presented enough information in that letter, I would now like to give more data supporting my belief that maintaining 3 classes of 5th grade for the 2017-2018 school year is in the best interest of everyone involved. Most of the information I am presenting has to do with low-income student populations. As we all know, North Elementary is a Title I school. That means we have over 40% of our student population that comes from low-income families, families of poverty. According to America's Poverty Education Link in the Huffington Post, the blog by Howard Stephen Friedman, October 2012, the link between poverty and education can be seen at all educational levels, and poorer Americans start disadvantaged. The blog from the link between poverty and education from the Borgen Project ascertains that it is well-documented fact that children from low-income households are less likely to be successful than their middle and upper-class counterparts. With fewer resources and less of a focus on education in the home, children growing up in poverty are behind from the very beginning. Household stresses from living in poverty build up in the child, making it extremely difficult to concentrate on education, even if they attend school regularly. The educational disparities continue all throughout the student's schooling and life. The student's need for extra attention to obtain academic success does not stop just because they reach a certain age or grade level. Raising class size from 19 to 26 is not in the best interest of the students. Yes, South Terrace has class sizes almost that big, but our clientele is not the same. If you look at the graphs that I've presented to you, you will see that North Elementary has a greater percentage of low-income students by the free and reduced price meals, and a greater percentage of special education students. And I will say these came off of the IDOE website. In addition to the differences that the graphs illustrate, one also has to consider the student-to-teacher ratio. South Terrace last year had 341 students with 29 teachers, as listed on the IDOE website. That works out to an average of 11.8 students per teacher. North Elementary, with the greater percentage of low-income and special ed students, had 443 students with 32 teachers. That averages out to 13.8 students per teacher. Both seem very low, but more than the classroom teachers are counted in those numbers. Those include art, music, not just regular classroom teachers that are responsible for language arts and math. The bottom line is, from the graphs and data taken from the IDEO website and the other sites from which I have gathered information, North Elementary has a greater need for a smaller student-to-teacher ratio. Enlarging classes from 19 to 26 is not in the best interest of any of the students. When you enlarge a class, that means less individual attention can be given to any student, whether low income or high ability. Having 3 classes will allow us to devote more time to each student's individual needs and to break the classes into smaller groups for reading and math. Creating plans and lessons will take more time, but they will be more tailored to the student's needs, giving them a better chance at academic success. We have always been told that if we come with a problem, we should also have a solution. Since there has been no posting for a replacement for our digital literacy position, that amount of money should be available to hire another teacher. I will end with, we at North Posey have always prided ourselves on providing the best quality education possible for our students. Please continue to do so by making sure the upcoming 5th grade students at North Elementary have the smaller classes so they can get the individual attention they need and deserve. Thank you.
What we're going to do is continue to look at the numbers at North Elementary and at South Terrace. Both of them have a class that has very large class sizes. North Elementary is in the 5th grade with 25, 26, and at South Terrace is 4th grade with 26 and 27. And when the principals get back the 3rd week of July, then we'll take a look and account, and we'll be making some personnel decisions at that time.
I do have a question. And you and I have discussed this. And
Yes.
we're on the same page on the importance of class size for sure. But I think we're kind of stretching Patron's concerns here. So I just want to make sure that you have contacted your union
Yes, I have.
and your principal.
Yes.
And I don't think this was an issue in time for superintendent's advisory.
Right, it was
But
not.
Dr. Camp does have an open door policy.
Right. And I sent, before I sent the first letter, I notified Mrs. McMunn, she had a copy of it. I spoke with Dave Kaler, and he had read through it. So he was even aware, I texted him last night and made him aware that I was going to speak today. And he didn't ask me what I was going to say, he just said, be nice and be polite, and I think I was. So, but they were all aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not prepared tonight to talk about that subject because I didn't know everybody was coming, or if I would have known, I would have prepared. But really and truly, we won't start talking about personnel again until the principals get back on the job. Right? And I can't remember, so somewhere around the 3rd week of July. Because the offices will open back up, kids will start enrolling, we'll know exactly what's going to be happening then.
Can you give us a time frame so that we would know approximately? I mean, will you decide within that first week?
Of school or? Well, I
The
mean-
principals being back.
Well, the first week that they come back, we'll have a meeting in the first week. I usually give them the first day or 2 to get back, get everything going, see what we don't have done structurally wise to the building, to have it ready for kids to come in. And then we'll have a meeting down here in the central office. It usually lasts the entire day, and we'll talk about every topic to opening the school that there is.
The only thing I would add is, and I appreciate you putting the information together, but I think it's important to note too that aides come into play into the ratio as well, and that was left off of the calculation.
Aides do come into play, but you have to understand that one teacher all day long is different than having one aide pop in 30 minutes twice a day. So I mean, we couldn't do it without the aides. But there is a difference between having an aide come in and supplement your plans with what you've set up for them for 30 minutes and then they have to go somewhere else versus having 6 fewer students in the room that you're still gonna have that aide come in and you just have it more tailored to those students because you can have smaller groups.
All right, so,
Yeah. And we'll take it under advisement. We'll be looking at it in July.
Thank you.
all right, so We have new business next. The first item on the agenda is the proposed rollover of Dr. Camp and Dr. Montemuller's contracts. We're not making any additional changes to the terms of the contract. We are just rolling over to the next year. I need a motion to approve the rollover of the contracts.
I would say this, in the past, my contract has always been after the teachers, and this contract comes after the teachers. This would be normally the meeting where I would be asking for a raise or a stipend or something. And I've not asked for that this time, just the rollover, keep everything the same. And I'm gonna get my contract on the same timetable as the teachers. So I just wanted to make that.
So, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the rollover.
A second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stocks, seconded by Ms. Will. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We usually, we put together the textbook rental. I have the statement on the fees from Mr. Bender, that none of our fees are in violation of any of the state laws, and the textbook rental has been established. I'd like to ask the board to approve the textbook rental and fees as listed by all the different schools of the corporation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Gentile, seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve the textbook rental fees. Do we have any discussion?
So, not necessarily with these fees, but are we taking credit card this year for textbook fees? No? Yes?
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it. It's a work in progress. I don't know if we'll be ready for the beginning of the year or not, but we are working on it.
Okay. I assume if we do get to that point, we'll send a message out and cover that. Okay.
Anything else? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Asking the board to approve the wellness policy that has been presented in front of you. The wellness policy abides by the laws and the requirements that we have to have. We've had a little bit of confusion in the past. Suze, I think Susie, you're the only one in here on our wellness team.
Which is the insurance.
Yeah. Well, we created a wellness policy, a wellness group a few years ago, and basically we were trying to create wellness among our staff and, figure out ways to control our insurance rising costs. And so we called it the wellness policy. Well, the state then came out and said you have to have a wellness policy. Well, it deals with nutrition and food for the students. So there's been some confusion. So we're changing our name to the insurance group, and this is going to be, there is a committee that created this policy in conjunction with all the laws and regulations. So a committee put this together, and it has been approved, to be in compliance with all the laws and regulations. So I'm asking the board to approve that wellness policy, and then we'll follow that wellness policy. It has nothing to do with the committee that Susie and I are on.
Looking for a motion?
Make a motion to approve the policy.
Any second?
Yes,
Motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Gentile. Do we have any discussion on the item?
Yeah, I'm on that committee, and we had a lot of good input on that. We had a couple folks come in that put a lot of background in that, and especially there's some stuff on there that you think this is kind of silly that we have to do this, but I think overall it's a good project, and I believe they're gonna try to kick off something in the fall for down at the high school, for all the schools to come in, and a kind of a wellness fair. So I think it'd be a good event.
Okay, so now I'm confused. So, so the old committee that I called the wellness committee is now the insurance committee.
Yes.
And they're strictly focusing on how to reduce our costs on the insurance side. Are they also taking under the wellness of the staff as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, we will do things in that committee that promotes exercise, proper food, you know, but it's just a sidebar for us. It's this committee's.
This committee is now, and that's what you're talking about, you were on this committee?
Yeah, it's kind of how we're gonna, it's trying to educate the kids on what types of foods they should eat. Even it's going as far as educating parents how to pack a lunch, a proper lunch, instead of letting the kid just grab all the sugar items out of the cabinet and fill their lunchbox up with that. I know that's kind of a micromanaging, but it's what the state wants, so.
It's really sad that that's necessary.
It is, but I think the committee's done a really good job of trying to follow all the guidelines.
To clear up the committee thing, Vince had asked me for all the different committees, and really we have paid committees, we have district committees, and we have school committees, and there's a lot of different committees, and it's never really ever been put on paper and then Vince asked for it. And we're about 80-90% of the way getting it done. We don't have a final product because even among ourselves, people think different committees are different at different levels. So we're getting that's another thing that we're going to tackle at the beginning of the year, and have a piece of paper that shows what each committee is and what their responsibilities are. And it's really started with a request from Vince, and then as I got into it, this wellness thing, I knew it had a bunch of people confused, so we'll get that on paper so it will be clear what each committee's role is.
All right. We got a motion to approve the wellness committee. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'm asking the board at this time to approve the professional leave as listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional leave.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Oakley, seconded by Mr. Stock. Do we have any discussion on the item? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Under reports, performance services came down. You know, we're in a guaranteed energy savings contract. Provided the board with a simple report from them. It basically gives you the performance team. I mean, there's nothing really out here that is any information other than it's a simplified report. The report that they have to do for the government for the guaranteed energy savings contract laws and regulations is, one of those big books. So they made it real simple, and basically it comes down to our Energy Star score, and after the project where they redid all the controls for our HVAC and all of those things, North Elementary went from 42% efficient to 69% efficient. North Posey High School went from 65% efficient to 87% efficient, and South Terrace went from 75% efficient to 82. One of the major things at North Elementary was the lack of insulation in that building. When that building was built in 1972, there was no drywall ceiling. They just hung the drop ceilings, and they put insulation bats on top of that. And we have been going through the building and, you know, putting drywall up and insulation above the drywall and then dropping a new drop ceiling. So as we get through that, that will help bring that up. One of the things that we can do in all of our schools to improve the efficiency, we have gradually migrated to LED lighting, but all of our classrooms don't have LED lighting. So that will be a next energy savings project that we can do. And you know, the LED lighting lasts a lot longer and a lot less, you know, a lot more efficient. And so that is probably the next thing we need to do. And then I would say that we will have, when we do that and finish the drywall at North Elementary, we'll have all schools in the 90 percentile probably. That's kind of that report. The annual financial report. Basically, this is a report that we have to do to present to the DOE, and so I've got the annual financial report. You know, we ended the year in July, and we have our cash balances are okay. Again, we continue to decrease in the general fund, and we continue to spend all our money in CPF. Nothing's really changed there. At one point, we were spending less. We did reduce the amount of money we were overspending in general fund. We've been hovering around $300,000 a year. With the other funds, we're doing okay. This year, the tax quotient, the 6-year annual growth quotient for CPF, transportation and bus replacement is a 4% growth. So when we do the 18 budget, we get 4% new money in those three funds. That's a good thing. So as long as those funds are going up and the growth quotient's okay, then those funds at the end of the year, we move money in the rainy day and we help pay for other things. So right now, basically we're status quo exactly where we were last year in our funding. That's all the reports I have. The next board meeting will be Monday, August 14th, 2017. Executive session at 5:30 and the regular meeting will be at 6:30. And we have several staff members that have not been hired yet, so we'll be looking at some personnel in the executive session. That's all I have.
Budget hearing meeting.
Hmm?
The budget hearing meeting.
Oh,
On the 28th.
we have the budget period starting, and when you cross July, you have to start the 18 budget. We'll follow the same plan as we followed before. We'll get permission. We'll have a budget hearing. We'll get permission to advertise, and we plan on completing the budget in September. It's important that every board member can be at the budget hearing. So just want you to check your calendar and make sure that everybody is available on August the 28th, 2017 for the budget hearing.
Anything else for the good of the cause? All right, looking for a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. It's required.
A second. A motion by Mrs. Will, second by Mr. Till. We are adjourned.